This shiur will be for Refuah Shlema of my father, Gedalia Moreno ben Matilda, Parashat Behalotcha. How you doing, Zev? Kol beseder? Slova Bogo. Parashat Behalotcha, he called Behalotcha, and he talks about Ha'alat HaNerot. Ha'alat HaNerot, lighting up the candles, bringing about the candles in the holy candelabra. We call it from now on menorah, because I like the word candelabra. We call it menorah. In the Mishkan, the tabernacle, that's it. It's done with English words, so I'm going to put Hebrew words, that's it. The parasha does not deal specifically with the building of the well, what's so funny? יצרה, תאכל? למה לא? תאכל לבריאות.
Sounds good, it's hard. But it's there.
תאכל. The avocado is a little hard.
No,
yes.
the rice.
It's in your stomach. Drink water; it'll be soft. The parasha doesn't really deal with the building of the menorah, and not exactly with the commandment of lighting the menorah, but rather in a guidance. It tells us what to do while we're lighting the candles or while we're lighting the menorah. It's not really candle. We call it a ner, but it was really the oil in the menorah, with a great emphasis on ha'alat hanerot b'menorah, bringing about the light, how to light it in the menorah. And the question is, of course, why do we need this all together? Why do we need to tell me about the menorah here? After all, we already spoke about it in Sefer Shmot, when they build the menorah. And what is this repetition? And especially in this parasha, we have another ordeal going on, is they call it in Arabic fauda. You know what fauda is? Chaos. The great balagan, the great catastrophe, the unrest that the Jewish people started to feel, and it starts in this week's parasha. Just like, we are getting a whiff of the weeks ahead of us in terms of like Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, Tisha B'Av, and so on and so forth. But this is like starting from this parasha. To mention a few of them, the Am Yisrael is complaining. The complainers, serial complainers. We have the Kivrot HaTa'ava, when they bury the desired over there. We have the Lashon Hara of Miriam. We have what else? Wonderful things we have there. We have Korach and his Chevre, Korach. And of course we have the Meraglim and so on and so forth. However, there is a certain common denominator into all of them. That the menorah kind of comes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings the medicine before he brings the cure before he brings about the disease. Don't make any comments about Gittin in the order. Yeah? But let's look exactly what happens here with if there is a connection between those the unrest that Am Yisrael goes and the menorah itself, and why is it exactly coming here, and so on and so forth. One needs to understand that understanding the interaction between the menorah and the other unrests that this parasha starting to introduce to us, understanding that will give you the ability to deal with all the tests in which you'll come your way, with all kind of unrest that you would feel inside of you, any kind of machlokot and arguments, disputes that you would experience with your life. And that ability to deal with that starts from understanding what the menorah is all about, which the menorah in a way is a symbol of harmony. Again, I will have to admit, I am not a Zionist. But it's very interesting to me that the symbol of the state of Israel, like in America they have the eagle and so on and so forth, the symbol of Israel and the seal of the Israeli parliament, which is the greatest machloket out of all, is the menorah. And the menorah represents perfection, unity, and so on and so forth. again, if we will be able to understand into that secret, we'll be able to be inspired and therefore deal with all those conflicts that would arise with our own lives ourselves. And this is what it has to do with our lives nowadays. So let's look at the menorah. The Kabbalah teaches us that all the olamot, all the worlds, and we're talking about the worlds in terms of like Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiyah, all those levels of how should I say it? All levels of spiritual realms. Okay, they all are made in a concept of a seal and the imprint. You know, as much as you have a seal, right, a stamp, right, and then the imprint comes out the same thing in those olamot, in the worlds, and to our world as well. There is a certain resemblance in that concept. For example, the Mekubalim says that there is a menorah in the upper world. There is a menorah in the upper world. Of course, we're talking about spiritual analogies, right? But there is a menorah in the upper world, and there is menorah in this world, right? A sidetrack. That's why when Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to call somebody upon someone in a very dramatic way, in revelation of Himself, He would call the name of the person twice. Avraham, Moshe, and so on and so forth. Yaakov has Israel. To show you that there's a person here and a person there. I mean, of course, it's not a person, it's the spirit. It's not the body, it's the spirit that connects. So that's why when you do things in this world, it has effect in that world as well. To you too, and to all of us. However, the ability of us to damage is limited. If you look at the concept of, when we say L'Shem Yichud, in the sake of unification of what? The separation which was created between Yud K and Vav K. The Yud and the Hey, and the Vav and the Hey. So, because beyond that, we cannot separate. It's above our ability. But when we can damage, we damage. Okay? So there is everything that there is here, there is there. So there is a Zev in this world, there's a Zev out there right now, and Sam, and so on and so on. So some Mongolians is there as well. Okay? And the upper world, which we call the upper of all worlds, it's called Olam HaAtzilut, is perfect. And he lights down to this world. And in Olam HaAtzilut, in the world of Atzilut, there is no difference between the light and the shadow that it casts at that place. And therefore it's everything there is light. There's no difference between. I mean, the reason why I'm able to see this cup is why? It's because the light reflects off it. So in a way, here there's no light, on that side, because it just reflects. So I'm able to see here only because the light has been rejected. In Olam HaAtzilut, in the upper world, it's all light. Again, don't think about this kind of light, but think about, it's an analogy. If you understand, I hope you do. So in that world, in the upper world, there's no form. It's all light, complete light. And everything there is in a complete unification. There is no peirud, no separation in that world. It's complete. And that is the center, the source almost of the light that shines throughout all the other worlds, and it descends to our world and comes down to our world in the way that it comes. Let's look at this way. In our body, if I want to separate between an organ to another organ, I don't want things to stick to my. For example, how do I prevent the heart from sticking to the lungs or the cavity? There's a membrane. right? So in the upper world, there is what they call rakia. Rakia, we think is sky. It's not the sky. However, there is a certain barrier that separates between worlds and worlds. V'im mavdil ben harakia, right? In Sefer Bereshit, everything is there. All of a sudden, it makes more sense. That was the separate. In the beginning, there was light, and then the Kadosh Baruch Hu separated it. But how? Creating a barrier between the two worlds, and then we get, and that's what it says. There were water above and water on the bottom. That's where we all get it, right? There was mayim milemala, mayim milemata, water above, water on the bottom, and so on and so forth. And then through that separation, the definition came. It's very important to remember that. So when you go to the world all the way up there, if you're able to ascend yourself to the world of Atzilut, all the way up there, over there you won't be able to see the menorah. You're not going to be able to see the menorah itself. You're just going to see light, because over there it's all light. Everything is included within the light. And therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us to make a menorah down here, so we will be able to actually see it. And He gave us the instruction of how to see this menorah, that is going to be exactly in the same fashion as the menorah up there. That's why it's important to make the menorah exactly as the Torah told us. And why is that? Because as much as the menorah needs to shine up there, it needs to shine down here in this world. And that's why the menorah was associated with many miracles that happened there, like Ner Ma'aravi, the Western candle, and so on and so forth. Many miracles that were associated with the menorah itself. The whole act of the menorah by itself, the making of the menorah, is miraculous. And let me try to explain to you why. I'm not a jeweler or anything like this. However, that gold weighs a lot. I think about a pound of gold weighs about a pound, I think, right? Yeah. However, a pound of gold will be something like this big. The menorah is an enormous object. It's big. It is a big thing. However, it has to be made as one casting. And they cast it in one. And what happens with gold? Gold, since it's heavy, and it has to be zahav, miksha achat zahav tahor, one solid casting, but it has to be pure gold. What will happen to the menorah? That will be like this, if it will be gold. Because it goes out like this, not like the Lubavitch ones that go like that. All the menorahs in the world are like this, the Lubavitch go like that. But never mind, never mind. But we have the menorah like that, right? So what will happen? Eventually they will crack. Eventually the menorah will crack. I mean, it's a big thing. We're talking about, a few hundred kilos of gold. That's massive. The branches of the menorah would simply break. Everything with the menorah is associated with miracle. With a miracle. As much as the menorah is associated with Parnasa, which is also a miracle. Your Parnasa is all a miracle. It's all by HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides. If you come tomorrow morning, I'll explain to you something very Belina there, Bezat Hashem, something very important about that. But go back to what we're saying here. So there are a lot of hints in the menorah. Let me just go with you through some of the hints that we know about the menorah. The menorah was such a complete object that it stands in terms of it's a concept against Keneged Kol HaTorah Kula. It's not called the Whole Torah. And let's see how it is. So the menorah was made out of 7 branches. The candelabra had 7 branches to it. It had 9 flowers, 11 buttons, and 22 cups that were made into the branches of this menorah, like little goblets like this in the menorah itself, as it says, of course, in Sefer Shemot. And there's a tremendous hint here on the spiritual aspect of the menorah that we have here. Those numbers indicate or are hinted in or indicate the first or the first few psukim of the Chameshet Chumshei Torah, of the five books of Moses. And the first pasuk of Sefer Bereshit has 7 words. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Right. So there are 7 branches, 7 words. In Sefer Shmot, there are 11 words against the 11 buttons in the design of the menorah. The first pasuk of Sefer Vayikra has 9 words against the 9 flowers. In the first pasuk of Sefer Dvarim, there are 22 words against the 22 let's call them goblets or cups, whatever, in the design of the menorah itself. And at the end, in the first pasuk of Sefer Bereshit, there are 17 words against the 17 tfachim, which is the height of the menorah. The menorah is about 170 centimeters, which is, I guess, like what, 5'5", something like that, of that sort. I'm 5'10", so it's 177, 7 centimeters less, whatever, yeah, 5'5". 170 centimeters, 5 feet, 5 inches of pure gold. It's a lot of money. It's a big thing. You know how heavy this thing is? It's enormous. And it says that the Torah, that's the hint, that the light of the menorah shines throughout the whole entire Torah. Because the menorah has something to do with each and every one of those chumashim. More than that, the parts of the menorah, which we said, the 7 kanim, the 7, 9, 11, and so on and so forth, the number of all of them, 7 plus 11 plus 9 plus 22, comes 49. Exactly it, which is exactly the amount of days which they went from Mitzrayim, that it took them to go until they received the Torah in Har Sinai. Everything is hinted there, you just need to see it. The Ari told us that walking, when they was walking towards the menorah. It's called halicha el menorah, walking to the menorah itself, that shines to each and every one of Am Yisrael, and that is very important. The purpose of here, that's for you, ex-Lubavitch. No, it's Faradi. The purpose of the menorah, here, listen for you. The purpose of the menorah is to gather all parts of Bria, of creation together, and to bring about all the lost neshamot of Am Yisrael. It's a very, very difficult thing. We know that in Mitzrayim, not all the neshamot came out. Not all parts of Am Yisrael came out. We know that. There were many, many people who didn't. According to the most optimistic opinions, 1 in 50 left Mitzrayim. 1 in 50. I think Rabbi Akiva says 1 in 250 left. We lost a lot of people. So that menorah, when the menorah comes, Sam, by the way, you have a battery? Can I have a battery? When the light comes, needs to shine equally on each one of Am Yisrael. As much as the Torah is not kept for chosen few. Each and every one of us has an equal part in the Torah. Each and every one of us could become a big Talmid Chacham. Each and every one of us. You don't need to build city walls and do all kind of stuff like that, right? And to learn. You learn, yagata umatzata ta'amin. You're going to learn, you're going to achieve. You're not going to learn, you're not going to achieve. That's the way it works. You can laugh, by the way. So let's look at this way. When they gather the menorah, when they gather the neshamot of Am Yisrael, it has to shine equally and gather together, representing Olam HaAtzilut, the word of Atzilut. Now, if you look at the Kohen Gadol that comes to do his melacha, the Kohen, he needs to have the Kohen who lights it, needs to have a tremendous kavanah, concentration on what he's doing. It's not just lighting the candles. It's not just like, the guys who used to work in the streets in the world, Europe or in America, used to light the street lights. It's not like some guy like this. It is the avodah in Beit HaMikdash for the simpleton looks like just like doing regular tasks. But to those who understand, that was the essence of the world, because you were collecting Am Yisrael. Look, Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. Boom, Am Yisrael spread out. That was what held us together. Of course, today we have the Torah to substitute us for that. Until we have Beit HaMikdash, Torah is the only thing that would keep you together. Let the light shine on me. The only thing that you would be able to enjoy the glimpse of the light of the menorah that comes down from Olam HaAtzilut today, the only way it's going to happen is through Torah. There's no other way. You can take a spotlight, LED, LSD. Nothing is going to happen. It's only Torah. Torah will do it to you. You have to think very, very carefully before you decide to do anything else besides learning. You got to understand what is there for you to lose when you choose not to learn. That's why I said to you guys, when somebody leaves Beit HaMidrash, is mitchayev benafsho. You're putting your life in danger. And I don't care if it's a yahrzeit or it's a wedding. You know which weddings you can go to? Your wedding and your sibling's wedding. All the other weddings, go to the chuppah, come back to learn. Everything else, your great uncle is getting yahrzeit for his the third mistress. Who cares? Who cares? You leave Beit HaMidrash, you are living your life you're putting your life in danger. You're living on the edge. I don't understand all these people. Oh, Rabbi, I'm going to Israel. It's the Holy Land. Okay. You need to learn. Can you go to Har HaBayit and pray? Can you go to Har HaBayit and light the menorah there? They'll stone you. And not like Bob Dylan. They'll stone you. But when you come here to learn, when you learn Torah, the light of the menorah of Olam HaAtzilut is shining upon you. That's why you might understand why when Shulchan Aruch writes, it says, when a person learns at night, Chut Shel Chesed, the light of kindness is bestowed upon him. That's why. Because you brought it upon yourself. You drew, instead of being drawn to the light, you draw the light to you, and then you shine and sparkle around. Let me explain to you further. So when he does that, the Kohen Gadol does it, it's not just lighting the menorah, it's putting all Am Yisrael together. Now you understand why when the Kohanim start to buy the right to work, all the problems came upon us, because they were not qualified in the job of putting the spiritual aspect of Avodat Beit HaMikdash together. That's why it all fell apart. So if a person has in himself the awareness of Kedushat HaMenorah, right? So therefore, everything inside of him would shine in the same manner. When you learn Torah with kedusha, with holiness, that light will come from within. Now, each and every one of us should strive to what we call dat shlema, the complete knowledge, complete understanding, the complete ability to understand, to distinguish between what's right and what's not right. Each and every one of us, and each and every one of us could do that. More than that. When we blemish, and that brings us to the problem that they had, the complainers, when we blemish, as Dora Midbar did, they blemish the dat ha'elyonah, the great understanding. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu, they always, Rabbeini, that's why they always complain to him, because Moshe Rabbeinu represented that great knowledge, that understanding of what does God want from you. Moshe Rabbeinu knew it. That's why they always came to complain to him. It wasn't about Moshe Rabbeinu, they wanted somebody else. It was about what Moshe Rabbeinu represents, that understanding. They did not want to understand what God wants from them. They rejected that understanding. And their complaint was about that. Now let me tell you what happens. So when a person has a blemish in his light that he brings about, when a person has a blemish, he is blemishing not only himself, but the whole menorah itself he blemishes. The whole apparatus. למה הדבר דומה? In עולם האצילות, the light comes from a source. It's condensed. One source shines it down. However, if I have a reflector and I put this, let's say for example a light. The light comes down. However, I have a reflector here. All of a sudden I'm able to take some of this light and eject it somewhere else. However, I am affecting the way the light comes down. The same thing when we do Averah. We create the perud, we create a distortion on the light that comes down from Olam HaAtzilut all the way down here, and then we create a problem. So it affects the whole, everything around you. Not only yourself, not only Am Yisrael, it affects everything around you because it's this world that gets affected with the light. And that's what it says. When Am Yisrael... That's why when Israel, all the pu'anut that comes to the world, which was a privilege, because Am Yisrael doesn't do the right thing. Am Yisrael is the problem. Why is Am Yisrael is the problem? Because we break the light that comes down from above down here. We restrict the light. Every time a person lights the menorah, he's doing Ma'aseh menorah. Every time a person makes tshuva, he's lighting the menorah himself. He doesn't need the great skills that Betzalel had, or Aaron had, all these people that dealt with the menorah himself. He doesn't need that because he already has that light or the idea of the menorah implanted in him. Because that's what we walk through our Sinai. So that concept of the menorah exists in each and every one of us. That's why every Jew is capable of doing tshuva. Every Jew. But he needs to bring the light about. When a person makes tshuva, right? All of a sudden, there's light. He is the Kohen. He lights the light. He lights the menorah. He brings it about. Now, what do we say about the Torah? Right? What do we say about the Torah? We say, Or Sheba Machziram Lemutav. The light in the Torah, which is the light of the menorah, brings people back to do the right thing. Machziram Lemutav. It rehabilitates them. So when you start to learn Torah, even if it's lo lishma, the light of the Torah itself that comes shining on it because you wanted to learn, even if it's for the wrong reasons, will bring about that light. Eventually you'll become good. However, if you learn and you deliberately extinguishing that, and I'll explain to you how, that light would not come up. And that's very simple. I'll explain to you how. So therefore, everybody, each and every one of us, has a menorah inside of him. But what happens? How do we create the problems? Am Yisrael starts complaining. When you complain, what happens? You start doubting. You blemish the dot, there is a pirud, there is a separation. Am Yisrael complained. What did they complain about? They didn't complain, when they complained about meat, it wasn't they complained about meat because they wanted to eat meat. When they complain about desire, it's not about that they don't have desire. They wanted to eat meat to have back the desires that they had. Because when they ate the man, they had no desires. Hitavu ta'ava, hitavu leta'ava. They saw some, they said, wow, my goodness, I'm thinking only holy thoughts. I want to think something dirty. I want to think something nasty. I want to hurt somebody today. They didn't have it. What do you mean? And they didn't have it. So they wanted the meat, because the meat would erase that thought, the desires inside of them. That's why they're complaining. Not because they wanted to eat meat. They wanted to eat meat because what it does to them, they want it to be bad. So it causes separation. Okay? The Meraglim, right, also implanted fear into the people. They implanted doubt into the people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Peirud, separation. When you speak Lashon Hara, you're planting seeds of separation. When I speak Lashon Hara about him, to you, I'm putting a separation between you and him. Separating. That's why if you could be the biggest Talmid Chacham. If you are a segment of separation, you go, let's say for example, you're the big Talmid Chacham in the world. It's impossible, but let's say you're the biggest Talmid Chacham in the world, and you start separating. You go to this community, you break this community. You go to that community, you ruin this community. You bring everything to you, you bring everything to you. You're separating, divide and conquer. The light is not going to come because you're creating separation. So you're covering the light. You have doubts. A place that was good for you, all of a sudden it's not good for you anymore. Why was it good to you until now, and now this person came, it's not good for you? Because he puts ideas into your head. He puts separation into your head. He puts doubt in your head, and he separates the doubt. You don't know anymore. And that's a very bad thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates elements of separation regardless of who they are. We need to be elements of putting things together, not elements of separation. The only separation in which we are not, if you have an unresolved issue for separation, separate between holy and unholy. You want to tell me that you finished separating between Kodesh Lechol, holy and unholy, that now you can go and start separating between the holy and self? What are you going to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What, you think you're doing HaKadosh Baruch Hu a favor? You separated now. You broke communities. You broke shuls. You destroyed yeshivas. You're taking bachurim from here. You're taking bachurim from there. You don't care about the guys. You don't care about the guys. You care about yourself. Lemi asita et zeh. Who did you do it for? Lichvodcha, for your own self. You don't want the guys to succeed. You don't want the guys to learn. You just don't want them to learn there. You send them to places you don't even care about. You are an element of separation, not an element of unity. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates that. And that puts darkness into our world. That's why a person who brings shalom ben adam lechavero, ben ish leishto, dvarim she'en lahem shiur, there's no amount. There's things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays you in this world and that world. He puts things that are dear together. That is a separate. If there is a separation between a friend and another friend, you put them together. Mavi shalom, ben adam v'chavero. What does it mean, mavi shalom? Not shalom the Kohen, right? Shalom. Not shalom. What does it mean he brings shalom, ben adam v'chavero? What does it mean shalom bayit? Shalom is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When there is a separation between a Jew and another Jew, means that there's no God in between them. And I don't care how much a God of observant person you are. You cannot call yourself a God-fearing, God-Torah-observant person if you feel separated from another Jew. Because there's no shalom. and it means there's no shalom, means that God is not there with you. And there's a shalom bayit, means there is a emunah in the bayit, there's a kadosh baruch hu in the house. So when you break between the husband and wife, you're taking God out of the equation. Now you understand those things? Why you have to be rodef shalom? You have to chase after shalom? You have to chase after God? You have to. You can't put separation. That's why if somebody comes to me and says, should I leave that yeshiva I come to you? I said, no, you're learning there, you like it, just stay there. If you haven't gone, I'll do whatever I can to convince you to stay here. However, if you go, you go. If you learn there, I'm not going to tell you to come here. You want to leave, it's on you. I'm not bringing you here. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in taking away people from other yeshivot, and I don't believe people should take from me. Whatever you have, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, that's your share, that's your nachala. Make sure that whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you, you deal with proper importance. What is it, you collecting guys? It's a competition, how many guys I have in the yeshiva, or how many guys I have in my shul. Do you treat them appropriately? Are you putting them together? Is this a shul of harmony, or a shul of God, or a shul of division? That's what I'm trying to explain to you. That's what the menorah is all about. The menorah, since it's miksha achad, one solid entity that shines upon all of us, it can only shine upon all of us if it's made of one entity, because then the light is concentrated. It's like a laser beam. Concentrated light. What power does this light have? But when it's diffuse light or broken light, it doesn't have the power. It doesn't look nice. It's useless. And that's what happens to us. Now, Am Yisrael needs to understand that we have to be Laklam Benorah, completely united. The Mekubalim says, Am Yisrael is one neshama with many parts and many sparks to it. And our job is to take it and to put all those things to one unity, to one entity. We should take Kol Danitzotzot, go bring them, one after one, after one, after one, after one. However, you need to be careful that you have enough light shining from within you, because otherwise you're going to be swallowed by the darkness. Okay? Even though it has many parts to it, but it's one piece. It has the flowers, it has the cups, it has the branches, but it's all one piece. When Am Yisrael walked in the desert for 49 days, they revealed what is so-called panim befanim diber Hashem imachem bahar mitoch ha'esh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to you face to face. 49 days. That is a very high level. Panim, face, is the highest level of the 4 steps that we have of spiritual connection. Okay? And Har Sinai, they stand at this highest level. Lehavdil, also to symbolize when a man and a woman are in unification together, when they are doing what they're doing as a spiritual aspect, not as a physical discharge. The face to do it, according to Kabbalah, is face to face. Like Adam HaRishon. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created men and women, He created them back to back. And then He saw it's no good, because then it's lonely. He separated them. And then they saw face to face. You have to understand that as well. Even in that, there is utmost kedusha if you only want to find it. And you have to understand those things. Because everything that you do here has a ramification over there. Everything you do, Abotai. We spoke this before. So even in the place of most people fail, that's where you have to be most careful. It has to be done with kedusha, with holiness, with understanding of what am I doing, and for who am I doing that. Am Yisrael, our job is to reveal this again, to find that level of separation that we had, to find this level of face to face back again with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be with HaKadosh Baruch Hu face to face. Listen, you have to understand, Am Yisrael comes from a very, very high spiritual root, from the highest spiritual roots above. Therefore, at the beginning, they are in darkness. Kadosh put us in darkness. Avraham Avinu, what was his father's name? Terach. Terach, walama Terach? Terach mile'artiach. God HaKadosh Baruch Hu angry. He did horrible things, Terach. Avraham Avinu came from there. David HaMelech came from maybe the most appalling thing of a result of Lot and his daughters. Unbelievable. David HaMelech came from there. Am Yisrael, the nitzotzot of Am Yisrael, the greatest neshamot, by the way, that of Am Yisrael left in Mitzrayim. The other ones couldn't leave because the filth of Egypt had surrounded them, had swallowed them in the spiritual quicksand. Only the highest neshamot of Am Yisrael were able to come out of Mitzrayim. That's why we talk about 600,000 roots of neshama. These are the ones who were able to come out. Those who were not of the highest realm could not come out of the quicksand of Mitzrayim. And Moshe Rabbeinu came to redeem us, to bring us to the highest level until we reach the Torah. We went 7 days on step by step of purification. 7 times 7 levels of purification until we receive the Torah. So if you take the stories of David HaMelech or Avraham Avinu or the souls of Am Yisrael, it tells us how HaKadosh Baruch Hu operates in this world. He hides the true reality in order to hide those pure neshamot, the highest neshamot, in the great light until it's the right time to reveal it. And the great revelation of this light will be in the time of Mashiach. But the right time has to come, and that is determined only by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not by us. Not by us, only by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so is in our generation. We have many neshamot. And there are some people even hold that our neshamot are the same roots of neshamot of Dora Midbar. They come to finish the tikkun, and watch they complain that they started the separation. We came, those roots of neshamot came back here again to fix that. What they started, that separation, to put it back together. And dafka in places where there's no Torah, in place of darkness, it's our mitzvah to go and to bring it about. That's why we need to spread the words of Torah out. That's why we need to promote Torah. Because the light of the Torah, just like the light of the menorah, is what brings Am Yisrael back together. However, if you are the Kohen who's working and lighting the menorah, you have to be very, very careful. So God forbid, not only not to do something wrong, but even to think about something wrong. Chas v'shalom, not to do anything wrong with the light of the Torah to your benefit. This is not lichvodcha. This is not done for your honor. This is not done for anybody's honor besides lichvod Torah or lichvod HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. What we do is not for us. Whether we get a reward for that or we don't get a reward for that. It needs to be done lichvod HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. And the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu would only be revealed in its great capacity when all Am Yisrael is in unity. Therefore, you must rebuke and protest against those who plant separation among Am Yisrael. Yeh Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we should all be united around the Torah and lichvod HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yavo Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mehera b'yameinu, amen.